we're almost there. I am 7 miles away. And coming up on LaBelle, I've just passed Blake's Boat Storage, which is a work yard I've used since 1991. And I know the gentleman who works in the yard, and I know the young lady that runs the office. And really nasty squall lines are coming through today. So I knew I was going to get zapped, or it looked like it, by the weather radar, which, I don't know if you can see that, but these lines are coming through, and I'm headed right about halfway between the lake and there. The last line broke up right there. It split around me, and there's another line coming behind me. So I was passing the boatyard, and the docks were empty. And I thought it was a good time to stop in and say hello to my old friend Proctor. Which really means I wanted to tie up at the dock and get somewhere secure and get off the boats that had a bunch of lightning coming. These boats are normally pretty safe to be on if they do get struck by lightning. But there's hundreds of sailboats in there. It's a storage yard and a work yard with lots of masts. So I figured I wouldn't be the highest thing around. There'd be a lot of other boats in there bigger than mine. So I pulled in there, said a quick hello. For some reason, that frontal line just broke up and passed right around me, which I was very happy for. And as you can see, looking out that way, it's black out in front of me. Can't really see past the ridge. It's black back there. But a hole opened up, and I happened to be in the hole. And my friend Proctor told me, he said, for some reason, this month, they've been doing that, one right after another. The grass in the boatyard is actually dry and crackly, and at my house, about 20 miles or 25 miles west of here, they've had rain every day since the beginning of June, and like lots of rain. So I lucked out on that one. I have another one of these storms coming through behind me. I'm hoping I've got an hour and a half to get to the marina. I'm hoping I can get the run to the marina and get tied up before I get cracked by the next one. So, getting to the end of the trip, I haven't had too many bad storms in 3 months. If I could get tied up at the dock before I get one today, it would be very good. But, you know, when you're doing 5 miles an hour, actually I'm doing 5 knots, a little bit faster. You get caught in them. Sometimes you can move away from them, sometimes you can't. Here I'm traveling in a river system, so there is nowhere to run. Sometimes I ride them out, you know, I just keep the boat underway, especially if I'm out in the ocean, you just keep it moving. But in shallow water like this, I was just going to drop the anchor and set it up and go down below and let the winds, because they can come through. 40, 50 mile an hour winds aren't uncommon at all. I had some the other night, I was doing 42, 43 knots on the anemometer over at Stewart. So, you know, they come cracking through, and being in the shallows and lightning and all that, just go down below, the best place, anchor up. So I've got one more lock, about 2 miles in front of me. I'll lock through that lock, only drop maybe 2 feet. And from there I've got another 5 miles, roughly an hour, and I'll be at the marina. And once I'm at the marina, that's it. That'll be a loop. It's going to come in just under 1,400 miles. I think it's 1,380 or 1,385 nautical miles, which is 1,500 or a little over 1,500 miles, statute miles. So, last day, can I make the next hour and a half without getting whacked? That's what I'm hoping for. It'd be nice to get back and say, nah, I didn't get any really, really bad weather. So, always makes for a more enjoyable trip. I was just at the boatyard and talked to some people on a catamaran, and they got nailed from both sides in a storm between the Turks and Caicos and Mugarone. Snapped their mast, lost all their electronics, like the radar and anemometer and wind vane, everything in the water, toasted it. They happened to have a broken engine at the time, so they had no propulsion. They floated in the ocean for a week under a sea anchor, trying to make repairs every day. They were able to cut the mast into pieces, and they have about a 20 or 22 foot tall mast. and they were able to rig up a sail on the front of it, and they sailed downwind and sailed back to the Turks and Caicos, where they were able to find some stuff and, you know, jury rig and make it last. Got the motor fixed, and then they did continue down to the Dominican Republic. Spent some time in the Dominican Republic at my friend's old marina, Puerto Blanco Marina in Luperón, and they're in the boatyard now, making repairs and everything, and a new mast is on the water. And he's like, we lost so much equipment. He said when the mast fell, it fell on our dinghy, and you know, these inflatables are around $3 grand or so for a new one, and it tore the dinghy all up and destroyed the dinghy. He said, yeah, we lost all that electronics, like the radar dome and all that. What else did he tell me? And oh yeah, then when they managed to live back to the Turks and Caicos, they only got so far, and they put the hook down. It's the first time in a week they got an anchor down. And he said it was a beautiful stainless steel anchor, stainless steel chain. He says very high quality, very high dollar, but they had no way to pick it up because they didn't have a motor, they didn't have any way to charge their batteries, so their windlass didn't work. The winds were blowing too hard. When that happens, one thing you can do is you can use the mast, the halyards, to pull it up, but they didn't have any of that because they lost the mast, so they lost that on top of it. It was like, yeah, very, very expensive. He got between two lightning storms and they converged on top of him, and he said it was partly his fault. He should have had the sails down, but he thought they were going to sail between them and be all right. And they can close up really quick, just as that one opened up. When I pulled into the dock, it was solid black behind me. There was a wall. Clouds were probably a 300, 400 foot base, which is really low. And the lightning was rumbling, and I keep adjusting the autopilot. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get whacked. I'm on the dock, good place to be. And then it just split and went around me. Well, they had just the opposite. They thought they were gonna slide in between a hole, and the hole closed out on them. And he said, yeah, I had the sails up and just overstressed everything and snapped it. So those things do happen. I sail the better part of this trip with a reef in the main all the time. This boat needs to be reefed by 15 knots. And for people that don't know what that means, a reef is to shorten the sail, make it smaller. And so most of the way down, I had 15 knots or better all the way. So I kept the reef in, and then at night I always put a reef in. I want the sail reduced. I don't have to go out and mess with it in the middle of the night if I don't have to. The front sail is what we call roller furling. It spins up, so I can actually do that from the cockpit and change the shape of the sail very easily from the cockpit. So, just the last minute goodies here, and home in an hour and a half. I'm ready. Cheers.